Well, welcome out to one of our new projects. We haven't shown this project yet, but this is the first video on what we're calling our log cabin remodel. This house doesn't look like a log cabin. When you see it from the outside, there's no way you'd call it that, but when we go inside and look at the way this house was framed, you'll know why we're calling it the log cabin remodel. But anyway, this house was built early 1900s, maybe even late 1800s, and we are doing some amazing work to it to get this house up to speed in the 21st century. So come with us, check it out, and we're going to show you all the details we got going on here at our log cabin remodel. Let's go. This is our log cabin remodel, like I was just saying. We got some cool things going on here. This house was built in the 1800s, late 1800s, early 1900s, we're not sure, but the details on this house are pretty old school in the way that they build it. We'll show you those details when we go inside. We're using some zip-R panel sheeting on the outside to give a thermal break to the outside. That zip-R not only does a thermal barrier, but it's also an air and water barrier. So we'll show you that detail. What we're doing here is we're actually adding a garage, and we're adding on a new kitchen space for the house. That kitchen space is adding on to the existing kitchen, giving it some more space, giving it some more light. We're putting a door out to a nice patio that they can enjoy on the backside. So we got a lot of cool things going on. Let's walk inside, and I'm going to show you the details of the framing, what we're doing to make this house more air and watertight and also have better insulation. So let's go inside. Well, this is the new front entrance of the house. We added this front entrance on. This house was built early 1900s. They didn't really have a front entrance like we know today. So we're actually adding this front door area. We got this little covered porch detail that we put on the house. We actually matched up the roof line above, and that roof line goes right over to the existing house to tie that in. Really nice. We got the pitches all matched up there, got all the fascia and everything matched up. So that looks really slick on the house. You won't even be able to tell that this is a remodel. But let's walk inside this front door here, and we're going to look at the way this house was framed, and then we're going to talk about some of the considerations that were taken to upgrade some of the systems in this house. So right here as we walk in, we got the old exterior of the house. So this house was built by stacking 2x6s on top of one another. You know, the traditional way of framing is that we put a stud every 16 inches or a certain distance like that, but they actually took the lumber and milled it down and laid it flat on top of itself. So you can see that each one of these is a 2x6 laid right on top of it. Well, what does that mean? That means this house has no insulation. So these 2x6s are all the insulation that this house has, and it's 6 inches wide. So we say wood is about R1 per inch. So this house is only about R6, if that. New houses today that we're building are R19 bats, and we put spray foam in there. So we're putting wall cavities together that are about R25. So this here is considerably low for today's standards. But you can see here that we actually had a window here. So this is just boarded up. A window that was on the old house. We're gonna open that up and make a new doorway. This was also a window here that we're boarding up. This won't be a doorway. This is just gonna go right over top. But like I said out there, we are actually using zip system sheeting. So if you're not familiar with the zip system sheeting, this is sheeting. So it's the exterior component that goes on a house. It's structural. It's an OSB material, but it actually comes with an air and water barrier already on the outside. So this is a fluid applied. They put this on in the factory, and then when it comes out, it's already got that on. You take tape and you tape the seams. So what happens is once you put this on, it makes it airtight and watertight, which is really cool. The framers love it. It makes a quick process. You don't have that house wrap flapping in the breeze blowing away. Don't have to worry about cuts or tears in the house wrap because every single seam gets taped, and you don't have to have a break in that air or water barrier. But we actually added another barrier to this, and that's a thermal barrier. So if I turn this on the side, you can see that there's polyiso foam attached to the back side of this. This material comes in a bunch of different varieties, and we use all different ones depending on the use that we have. But on this project, we're actually using the 1/2 inch. So this is the 1/2 inch OSB, or the 7/16 OSB, plus a 1/2 inch of polyiso, which makes this our 3.6. So that going around the whole exterior of the house is going to add a new layer of protection. They never had air, they never had water, really. I mean, they just had the vinyl siding on the house, and they never had a thermal barrier. So now they're getting all three. And this is going to go on the outside, and we just put it on and we just nail it off right on the outside, tape all the seams. They are going to notice a huge difference in the way this house performs. We're actually going to put a new HVAC system in it, so we're going to get forced air heating, and we're also going to get air conditioning in this house. This house never had air conditioning before, so we're upgrading those systems. But those systems now won't have to run nearly as much because of the work we're doing here. So if you keep coming inside the house here, you can see some of the work we did. This exterior wall actually ran all the way through here. So this was the exterior of the house at one point. I'm standing in what was the kitchen. So they had kitchen cabinets on this wall. The sink was right here. This is where they would look out. So what we did was we took this wall and we cut it off right here, and we cut it off over there, and we removed this whole section out of here. So what we had to do then is we had to level these floors out with the existing floor, so it was level across here. So we got Advantech flooring. This is the same stuff as the zip system, except for they put it on the flooring. So the cool thing about this is it can rain and all sorts of things can happen to this, but we can clean it off and it just looks amazing. So being that it was an old house built in the 1900s, the floors in here were not level. So we actually had to tweak the floor here a little bit to make sure that this all lined up seamlessly. So you won't notice it when it's all done. One side slopes a little bit, but that just matches the existing house. Well, if you look up above me, you can see what we did here to incorporate the structure for these ceiling joists. So because we took this wall out, we had to incorporate a beam up here for these ceiling joists. And what's going to happen is this ceiling now can run all the way across here and run flush across. You can see that the trusses that we put in up here actually sat about 3 or 4 inches taller. And so we furred this ceiling down to match that ceiling exactly. So when we plaster this, it can all run back nice and smooth. So that's why we have these 2x6s sistered on the side of our trusses that we put in. But that's a triple 11/7/8 LVL, and it goes up and it supports all the ceiling joists with all these hangers on it. Now that we have it open, you can see some of the existing wiring as well. We're going to upgrade all that. We're going to tear that out and get that all fixed up. So that existing wiring is a very old style. This is called like a knob and tube style. So they have knobs here that it terminates on, and they have these little tubes that go through each stud to insulate that. So that's a pretty old way of wiring, but we're going to upgrade all that for this house. Well, let's head outside now, and I'm going to show you the zip system sheeting that we're putting on the zip bar, and we're going to show you the windows and what we're doing with that. So let's head back outside and check that out. All right, well, we're outside now. Let's take a look at this zip bar system and what we did on the outside of this house. So come on up here. When we were inside, I talked about the tape and how we tape the seams. So we've got this air barrier, water barrier, and the polyiso behind it. But then at all the seams, we tape it, and that makes the air barrier and water barrier consistent across the whole thing. Well, one thing you might notice is we have some of this house wrap put on the house. Well, it's been raining off and on as we've done this project, so we just are putting this on as a simple protection layer as we work, so that when we go home for the weekend or whatever else, that if it rains, it doesn't rain onto the house material or the stuff and get something wet inside. So this here is simply just a protective layer for the life of the project as we're working on it. So this will actually come off of here, and we'll put that zip system sheeting right back behind here, and this will go away. But that's just a protection layer that we're putting on for the project as we work on it. These are the windows that we're actually replacing. So we're going to replace all these old style windows. And if you look over here, this is what we got going on. So these old windows, the way they're made is that these sashes get held up by these weights. So these weights actually go in here and run on these pulleys up and down. So it takes the weight of this window off when you're trying to lift it up. Well, if we wouldn't tear off the old siding and we wouldn't tear it off, but just go over top of it or try to, put just some house wrap over it or something, well, you can see these cavities right here where these weights ran up and down are void of any insulation. So what we're doing is we're cutting these old weights out of here and we're taking them out and we're actually spray foaming all these cavities here. And then we can run our zip R sheeting over top of this all the way up to the window here, and it's a seamless continuation of that air, water, and thermal barrier that we have with that. So you can see these windows when they come out of here, we're actually going to leave this frame because we are using an Anderson Woodwright replacement window. And so when you measure for those windows, you actually take into consideration these old slopes on these. So you order it based on the slope and then you measure side to side. So it actually fits in here perfectly, slides in, and then you can use those old window stops. So the cool thing is when you replace these, you don't even know it's a replacement on the inside. You still have all that amazing woodwork because of the way those windows are made. So we're going to go ahead and do that. We're also going to put some 2x material right here that brings it out flush with this sill, and then we can wrap all that in aluminum on the outside. This house will eventually have vinyl siding back on it. So that's the cool part. You can go ahead and you can upgrade your systems so you can get that air and water and thermal barrier, but you don't have to go crazy on things. You can do a simple vinyl siding and still enjoy all the benefits that the zip system provides. So we're going to just put a vinyl siding back on here. It's going to be good for a long time. It's going to get a lot of durability out of that vinyl siding, and it's going to look nice. So it's going to be the white vinyl siding that's just timeless and can clean well, and it just is really durable on the outside. So we'll do a bunch of details here. Down here where this comes into the concrete, we'll actually put some aluminum flashing down here and bend that around, and then we can actually tape it right with the same tape. Tape it to that. Any water that comes down gets kicked right out of there. So this project is underway. We're going to do some more videos here as we move along, but we just wanted to show you today just some of the first things that we have going on. So we're excited to share this content with you, and we hope you'll come back and keep watching these videos as we keep working on the log cabin remodel. We'll catch you later.